And we are back and live here in the morning, Sean and Spin in the morning. We need a little jingle, maybe that'd be fun. Well, kicking it live on a beautiful Monday morning here, June 9th. Sean and Spin in the morning, presented by Off Base Media. We had a good little weekend of baseball. I feel like it was more mez than good, but any weekend of baseball is going to be good. And we got to some more matchups to look forward to today that we'll get into in a second. But a lot happened over the weekend that we have to dive into. But first, Shani, how are you feeling on this beautiful Monday?
Well, we'll get into it. From a personal standpoint, I feel great. From a baseball standpoint, which mainly rules my whole life and how the Phillies are doing, I let it, just kind of consume me. I'm hurt. I'm hurt. And we're going to get into that later. We're going to touch on some things before we get into the Phillies. But I'm hurt, Spin, to say the least.
Well, let's get there first, because I know you're going to have a lot to say about your Phils. And I'm waiting for it, because you have every right to have to want to yell and scream. So let's get there first. But let's start with a little weekend recap, just see how some of these teams did over the weekend. Nothing crazy here, but we'll start in Florida between the Battle of the Floridians, Tampa Bay and Miami. Tampa Bay took 2 out of 3 there. I think we both expected that. Actually, you had them sweeping, but we both expect them to win the series. They did. No one expected Pittsburgh to sweep. They did at home. That's kind of crazy. Texas takes 2 out of 3 in Washington. Good for Texas. Boston takes 2 out of 3 in New York. Stinks for New York. Cincinnati swept Arizona. That was nuts. I think we both had Arizona winning that series. They swept the Braves, and then they get swept. So Arizona has to really put it all together. We'll talk on Corbin Burns and what that means for them, but they got to find it. Detroit takes 2 out of 3 from Chicago. That was a good series. But you said this before we went on. Detroit is the fucking real deal. So good for them to beat a good Cubs offense like that. Houston takes 2 out of 3 from Cleveland. We expected that. White Sox take 2 out of 3 from the Royals. Another team, just like Royals are kind of like fucking the Diamondbacks. Really have yet to shoot up. They can win some series here and there. They look good, and then they just never can take off. So that stinks. Toronto takes 2 out of 3 from Minnesota. Toronto playing good ball. San Diego takes 2 out of 3 from Milwaukee. How about this? The Cardinals take 2 out of 3 from the Dodgers at home. Good for St. Louis. Mets sweep the Rockies. We all expected it. Angels took 2 out of 3 from Seattle, the first 2. And Seattle avoided a sweep yesterday. And Seattle, I think, was the home team. How about this one? The A's take 2 out of 3 from Baltimore, and San Fran swept Atlanta. So Atlanta is on a hell of a losing streak. They stink. And then if we go to a little AUSL, which I did watch, Bandits split the series against the Talons, and then the Volts took both games against the Blaze over the weekend. We'll see more AUSL stuff this week. But that was that. And then I was shooting 67% this weekend, which is really fucking good. You were at 53, which I think is about where you kind of want to be.
Would have liked to be higher. That's 60. That 67% looks good on you, Spin.
I was gonna say I love that. It's the first time I think my picks have prevailed over yours, but 50. I think you always want to be slightly over 50%, so not awful. But I was 82% of my picks on Saturday, so that's a big fucking day, and 67% overall. So we did pretty decent. I did pretty good. You were above 50%, so never a bad thing there. But that's how we usually are. We usually are both
rolling with I'm not rolling with like the hot teams enough. I feel like I'm going with the overall. Like I'm not thinking about baseball as a whole and how wacky it gets. And when a team's hot, and you gotta just kind of like almost play the hot streaks and stuff like that. Like the Mariners, I went on like their previous record, I think, but they're like 3-7 in their last. You know what I mean? Like it's like stuff like the team that's trending downwards. You gotta take that into account.
Yeah, and listen, I had the Mariners sweeping the Angels. I thought they were going to bounce back greatly. They didn't. You did have the Angels taking 1 out of 3, but it was just the wrong game that they won. Exactly. But they did but the Angels took 2 out of 3. So yeah, again, who the fuck saw that coming? I think it was in Seattle. And when we look at the pitching matchups, you look at these Seattle pitchers, and you want to fucking believe, similar to a team like Atlanta, similar to a team like maybe Arizona, similar to a team like Philly this weekend when they roll out the pitching that they do. And you kind of like, how can you bet against some of these guys? But we'll get into all that.
Yeah.
Let's start with our vibe check, because I think we're starting out with a pitcher here.
Yeah, so Corbin Burns out for the year with Tommy John. It's absolutely nuts because it seems like every single good pitcher, or if you are just a pitcher going into the MLB, or like just throwing in general a lot at this point. It's like, has he had Tommy John yet? It seems like the out of office question is, has this guy even had Tommy John yet? Because it's just a foregone conclusion that you're going to get it now.
It really is. I mean, it sucks. There's this all these great pitchers getting banged up, and these are just major injuries too. Like he's out for the rest of 2025, and it'll bleed over. It'll carry over a little bit into 2026.
And we're not 100% sure like how he's going to bounce back from it. Granted, Tommy John isn't what it used to be. I remember back in the day when people were like, "Oh, he got Tommy John. He's done. Like he's done. His career's over." But now you think about some notable guys like DeGrom, Verlander, Shohei's going through it right now. John Smoltz had it. Steven Strasburg. When Strasburg came back, he was a little iffy. That was like back in the day. He might have been like one of the first couple pitchers to get Tommy John and like have come back and still have a career with it. You know what I mean? But Wainwright had Tommy John. There's a lot of these pitchers that I'm looking at right now that have had Tommy John and have still been able to come back and have successful careers. But what do you think this means for the Diamondbacks overall? Corbin Burnes himself, maybe. They just paid him a lot of money. Kind of where did the Diamondbacks, do you think, stand with all this now?
Yeah, well, they just got swept over the weekend. I would assume Burnes would have been scheduled to start over the weekend because I would assume he would because I think he got the
injury. It was last weekend. I think he got hurt.
Yeah, it was like early enough in the week that maybe he would have pitched, but I don't know. They're playing Cincinnati. You kind of want to beat up on the team like that. Even though they can get you, but still, I know they've been on the road, but they were just on the road in Atlanta, and they swept in the middle of the week. They swept Atlanta, and then it's like, okay, it was a must-win for both teams. And Arizona, not only did they win the series, but they swept them. And then they go into the weekend, play Cincy, and you like to think they could build off that momentum, and then they get swept. So that sucks, you know. Guys like Zach Gallen are really gonna have to step up. I think Gallen might pitch. I don't know. His last outing was good. Maybe he pitches this. I think we will see Gallen either today or tomorrow. Some shit. So, a guy like Zach Gallen has to prove to why he can be, why he got Cy Young votes in the past. Because without Corbin Burnes, which was their main offseason signing, a big signing, Gallen has to step up greatly. It's not like they don't have pitchers. We talked about this before. It's not like they don't have, like Merrill Kelly can give it to you. Brandon Pfaadt has to find it. But we'll see. I mean, they didn't. It's not like they didn't go to the World Series with a similar staff, right? When they went to the World Series, Pfaadt looked good. He shut down the Phillies in the desert that one time, and he was younger then.
As a rookie.
So he's still a young guy, but you like to think that he's learned a lot over these last few years, and he can really apply that and be a big part of this staff. Merrill Kelly's been a big part of this staff for the past few years. I'm a big Merrill Kelly fan. He's underrated as hell, never gets talked about. And then Gallen at the top. So Gallen really has to find it. All eyes on Zach Gallen, really. But there's going to be guys that have to step up. It's not like they don't have it, but they got to step up, and getting swept over the weekend kills you. But I think they can still – they're good enough on paper that they can do it. Their issues are on the back end of the back end of the bullpen, rather. But they do have some 3, maybe 4, like an Eduardo Rodriguez. Ryan Nelson steps up big in that staff now. So they have to compensate for the loss of Burnes, who was pitching well when he went down. But, Gallen, all eyes on Zach Gallen. Big for him.
So kind of crazy stat with the Diamondbacks. They've lost 7 games this year and where they've scored 7 or more runs.
Really quick, thanks for the chat for correcting me here. Gallen pitched yesterday, pitching to the 7, gave up 4 tanks. What that says, 4 tinks. I think you meant tanks. So, so good for Gallen to pitch into the 7th. I think that's the second start where he's gone pretty deep. But yeah, he's got to continue that.
Yeah, and they have. So I don't know if you heard that, but they've lost 7 games where they've scored 7 or more runs. The Diamondbacks themselves. So, and going into this year, everybody thought like this pitching staff had the contention to be one of the best in baseball, and it just hasn't been. With the kind of Gallen hasn't looked good. Now Burnes goes out, but Merrill Kelly and Pfaadt have looked good this year so far.
I mean, and it stinks. Yeah, Pfaadt, I started the year hot, like he was probably the best, and which was great. Now he has to kind of get back at it because, if I'm not mistaken, I think he's kind of fell off pretty decently. But
this is where they need them to step up because the offense is doing their part. Offense is smashing the baseball. They're playing good, but they really need their pitching, which should have been their strong suit, to excel here, and it just hasn't. But
Pfaadt's last 2 starts have been pretty bad. He's been giving up more runs as of late. There was a time his ERA was sub-3 at the beginning of the year. Now it's over 5. So like you said, he's got to find it and be a huge number 3. He could be a number 3 pitcher on this team, but he's got to get there.
They're still deep in the starting rotation, even without Burns, and so they shouldn't be hitting the panic button too soon. I mean, they did just get swept. They're 6 games out of the wild card, which is kind of nuts. But I mean, listen, it's still early in the season. Still a lot of baseball to be played. These guys can just get hot once. The bats keep on doing it, maybe, and maybe their pitching finds it. It's a long season, dude.
Yeah.
But also, I wanted to before we get off this topic, I wanted to ask you this because I've seen it in the Phillies organization with Andrew Painter, young pitcher coming up, gets Tommy John early. They rest him for a while, kind of in his development. Do you think like getting Tommy John career is almost better for you? Because I think this question has been posed before with a lot of young arms starting to get Tommy John early. They're like, oh, we'll just get it out of the way because at this point it's almost inevitable nowadays.
Yeah, it's I hate to say inevitable, but yeah, when you're chasing velo and spin rate and it's really fucking with your arm, the epidemic on these pitcher injuries really continues. I don't know really the best way to answer that question. I don't know enough about it, but I think the way that this medical personnel and with this technology and whatever we're leaning towards, like with this epidemic of starting pitching getting hurt, you like to think that you're learning a lot. These people are putting in research and trying to find ways that if you're chasing velo and spin rate, how can you preserve arms, or how can you at least get back on the field in a quicker time, or not be out for so long. I will say, I don't know if it's necessarily better. I know that there's the thing is that you throw harder post Tommy John. Isn't that like what people say?
I mean, it might be a myth, but it is. Some people do say that.
So there's that. But I would really just say, knowing this as like a front office or as a team, when you're trying to build and bring in these big pitchers, it really is buyer beware with this in mind.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And this is some notable injured pitchers that have gotten banged up this year. Again, there's always going to be a handful because these with the epidemic, we saw it last year. So, Corbin Burns is the most recent one, 6 year, over $200 million with his elbow. Blake Snell, 5 years with the Dodgers, $182 million that he's getting paid. He's been banged up. Sasaki got paid a good amount. He's banged up. Eovaldi.
To my point, Sasaki's like 19. Or like 20. Like he's
like 23, but yeah.
He's 23. He's a young guy, and he's already getting it. Like it's crazy to me.
Eovaldi's banged up on a 3-year deal, $75 million. Manaea, 3-year deal, $75 million. Scherzer, $15.5 million on a 1-year deal. Hasn't pitched, or maybe he has pitched for Toronto, but it wasn't a lot. Verlander on a 1-year deal, $15 million. Those guys are a little bit older, but those are some guys. It's like those guys are all kind of who I think signed contracts in the offseason, either to re-sign or with a different club. And yeah, it's buy or beware with these knowing what we know now with these pitcher injuries. And then this is another one too, while we touch on it. Pitch clock is the reason for high Tommy John rates. Pitch clock, I think, has something to do with it too. You're kind of coming in hard and fast. I don't know if that's a direct correlation, but I don't know if it's a coincidence that with all these injuries that are happening is really in the start of the pitch clock era. But there's always been Tommy John.
It also probably stands, and I'm going to sound like an old man when I say this, but like kids nowadays start playing baseball year round real young, and it's just baseball. Like I don't know if that has anything to do with it. When you're throwing year round, like your arm needs breaks, especially as like when you're a pitcher and stuff like that. You're probably not taking care of your arm as much when you're a kid and like in your teenage years, and then you get to college and you're expected to play all year round. And like high school, middle school, like that time, you're really supposed to play like all the sports, different sports you can and stuff like that. But kids nowadays they're focusing on, just baseball, which isn't a bad thing. Hey, like if you love it, go for it. But like, it's important to take breaks in between and stuff like that. And I just sound like an old guy basically right now. Like,
but you're right though. They are putting a lot of strain on their arms, and then it never really stops, right? I mean, especially at the major league level, these guys are starting throwing. I don't know when they start their throwing progressions and shit like that, but it's happening in the offseason, and they continue to throw. So, yeah, that's a lot of strain on an arm, and it sucks. I don't know the best way to go about it, but that's where we're at right now, and it sucks to see all these great pitchers get banged up for long periods of time.
Yeah, man. It's kind of crazy because it's going to continue. Like there's not going to be a solution to this anytime soon.
I
Basically,
think every team probably has a notable guy that's down.
yeah. So then, to our next topic. So this is one's a little bit happier.
Yeah.
Evan Longoria, longtime Ray, probably the biggest Ray of all time.
Has to be.
Yeah, I think he has to be. Retires, signs a 1 year. Not a 1 year, a 1 day contract as a Ray to retire as a Ray. Good for Evan. Some notable things here. As a Ray, he batted 264, hit 342 home runs, and has 1,159 RBIs, all with the Rays. Had a 15-year stint with them. Just a beast when he was there. Started in 2008, I think, and that year they went to the World Series when he was a rookie. So, kind of made the Rays pretty notable for a long time. To me, he's the greatest Ray to ever play. Definitely. I mean, there's not a long list of there's a lot of great players the Rays have traded away, but as a Ray, I think if they retire his jersey, they have to retire his jersey. That ceremony will be probably pretty cool. But
yeah, good for him. He threw out the first pitch, I think, was it yesterday's game or fucking whatever Saturday? I don't remember. Fuck, I get my days confused. But yeah, really, really good for Longoria. It sucks that he did it in a spring training facility and not the Trop. So that's what sucks because he had a lot of good moments in the Trop. The one was that walk-off homer. If you know, you know. I'm not going to get too deep, but I think that kind of helped send him to the playoffs that 1 year. So a lot of good moments. He is a fan favorite there. Definitely has to be the best Ray of all time, right?
Yeah, hold on. I think the stats I got offline were wrong. It looks like he had a 10-year career there. He left in 2018.
Yeah, 10 years there, 5 with San Fran, goes to
Diamondbacks. He had 261 home runs, 892 RBIs. And hold on, there was something, his average was really good. He was batting 270 as a Ray. So, I mean, he was just Mr. Consistent for the Rays. Played awesome defense on the opposite side, was an all-star a lot of those years on top of that, too. So, definitely good for him. Loved him when I was a kid.
Good for Longo.
And those old the show games. What'd you say?
Yeah, I said good for Longo. I'm with you.
Yeah.
I was gonna say this though. Before we move on, David Price, best Ray of all time. To each their own. I lean Longo. I lean the position player. And I wanted to bring this out. I know this is the last topic, but I think it's a good point by Stephen Robert Hoyer in the chat here. Paying pitchers, paying running backs in the NFL. Maybe again, it's buyer beware, or buy and then beware if you're gonna buy them. So I think that's a good point there. Here, do you want to move on? Because look what the chat's saying. We got to talk Phillies because Sean might just explode. He might blow his lid on the Phils. How's your blood pressure this morning? Because it might get worse.
I was laying in bed before this, and my heart, I started looking on Twitter, and my heart started pumping. I thought I was going to have a freaking heart attack at some point. But I said to myself, if I want to get through this and actually touch on everything that's wrong with the Phillies right now, I have to stay calm, cool, and collected, because then I'll start rambling and I won't start making any sense.
We'll be here all day if we had to talk all the things that are wrong with the Phillies right now.
So I'm gonna start at the top. Dave Dombrowski. Everybody loves him apparently in Philly. Well, me, I think he sucks. Him bringing Harper, Schwarber, Castellanos to the Phillies. That was great, obviously. Bringing Turner to the Phillies, too, something notable, horrible contract. Paid him a boatload of money. We have him until he's about 40. And for the next, 5 or 6 years, we have to hide him in the field. So we paid him all that money just to be a bat. He has been that bad. He's hitting 300 on the year. But now, on the opposite side, half of the game, actually probably more than half of the game, we have to hide him in the field defensively. You think down the road, where are you gonna put him? Oh, maybe we can just DH him. Well, we have Bryce Harper too that we got for a long time, and he's most likely going to be the DH. And then if you sign Schwarber again, he's also going to be the DH for a while. So we can't hide him in the DH spot. He's got to play the field somewhere. So now we have to figure that out on top of it. Dombrowski notoriously waits too long to bring up prospects and brings up the wrong prospects on top of that. We've been dealing with Weston Wilson, Johan Rojas for the longest time. For some reason, he didn't even bat an eye when he brought up Johan Rojas. But we got guys like Justin Crawford. Otto Kemp didn't have the best weekend, but once again, you got to give him time. We got to see how these guys develop once they get to the bigs. He did face his second game was against the best pitcher in baseball. So we can't jump too far into conclusions about Otto Kemp. Releases Cody Clemens, DFAs him. Cody Clemens, I don't know if you've been paying attention to what he's doing in Minnesota right now. He's on a freaking tear. He's absolutely killing it. I'll bring up his stats later because I'm going to talk about him a little bit more on when we get to a different topic as well. But Dombrowski, there was very mixed feelings about his off season this past season. Everybody knew we needed bullpen help. If you're a real Phillies fan, you knew we needed bullpen help, and you knew we needed help in the outfield. Well, his answer was Jordan Romano, who was coming off an injury, who's looked horrible, and then Max Kepler in left field, who's batting like 210 on the year, and just does not look good. And then still riding with Martian Rojas out in center. There were some very, very notable free agents that could have played outfield for us this year. And Teoscar Hernandez, Cody Bellinger. Did I expect him to go get Kyle Tucker? No, because we would have had to sign him to a massive deal. But Kyle Tucker was also out there. So those are three guys that could have helped your team more than Max Kepler. And like I said, I was even high on Max Kepler. You can watch back in previous podcasts. He was hitting the ball hard. I thought he was going to find gaps, but guess what? He just didn't. He wasn't. And now he isn't. All right. Next level, Rob Thompson.
Wait. Before you go to the next level, let me touch on Dombrowski for a second. I don't know if it's fair to totally shit on him. I think there's a lot of teams and fan bases that would like to have a guy like Dombrowski because at least he goes out and brings guys in. Now, not every move is going to be great, but there's teams that don't do diddly squat in the offseason. At least he went out and tried to check off boxes. You know, how those guys play out is a different story, but he's been doing it for maybe since 2019 where, like, listen, Didi Gregorius didn't work out long term. Fucking Girardi didn't work out. Not like David Robertson was your saving grace in the pen at that time. It's not like McCutchen was good and then got hurt. But it's not like he wasn't making strides to bring in guys that the team did need. I mean, not everyone's going to work out.
It's been these mediocre role players for the past 3 years that actually don't have any talent, and he's like, grasping at straws. But
what are you supposed to do if you kind of do have the big notable guys like you have? I know the Turner contract isn't good, but when you have Turner, Schwarber, Harper, it's like it's not like you need a star. It's not like you needed like the Giants who needed to bring in notable guys and all they had was role players. Like they need just like pieces to like that's what the Royals are doing right now. Like they're not making huge moves, but they're bringing in pieces to deepen a lineup with the Salvi Perez's and the Bobby Witts in it.
All right, I see where you are coming from, but every single year with Dombrowski, it's the Phillies are expected to be buyers at the trade deadline. The Phillies are expected to do this, be extremely aggressive. And now they're saying it again this year. And I'm at the point where I said, I'll believe it when I see it. Because the past 3 years or 2 years, we've needed pieces it's been so evident to everybody and that we need more, that we need something. We need an arm. We need an outfield position. We need a piece here. We need a piece there. But we keep running it back with this same exact team with two new guys every year who turn out like I'm going to touch on some of these people once I get to the outfield problems because they're just not good signings. Like, yeah, he went out and he made the big contracts. He got the notable players. That's great. Like we have good stars. That is without a question. He did a great job in that aspect. But filling the pieces around him, he has done a horrible job at.
I can see it. I think you're going to talk more about it when you get to the players and their actual production. That's kind of where it grinds my gears a little bit if I was a Philly fan. But, yeah, I mean, in terms of bringing guys in, I mean, like, he's trying to check these boxes. Whether they produce on the field is like – because you can justify Romano and say he's a 2-time All-Star closer.
Yeah, like, I can't give him too much grief because also, like, on top of it – but – like he brought in Luzardo, and Luzardo minus his last 2 starts looked great for us this year. He's been awesome. He's been a kind of a game changer, right? But for like every single time he brings in a bullpen arm, it's a guy in his like late 30s who's on the back end of his career with like Kimbrel, Robertson, Turnbull. Turnbull was a starter who got moved to the pen. Turnbull, now Romano. Like there's there's all of these guys are on the back end, late 30s, that nobody else wants for good reason. Like after they leave the Phillies, they're in AAA 95% of the time. He's trying to rent them and squeeze the last bit out of them, and that hasn't worked at all. So I'm not saying fire him. I'm saying he needs to get some grief for what he's done over the past couple of years and not being able to fill these positions.
Okay, I'm with you.
And then we get to Rob.
Okay, yeah, this one might be a little bit better here. I mean, because
Rob fucking Thompson.
I think you're gonna hit this fucking nail, yeah.
Rob Thompson has zero fucking heart, and this team has zero fucking heart right now. Nothing. They look like they are lost and little kids out on the field, and that starts with your manager. Rob Thompson barely gets off the top step any of the game. I barely see him talking to players throughout the game. And now, granted, there are different styles of managers. There's guys who are laid back. There's guys who are fiery. There's guys who are going to get in your face, get a team going. Rob Thompson is that guy who is laid back. And when you're winning, it's awesome because he just lets them play. And that's what you want to see. But when it's bad, wow, is it bad? Because he has no idea what to do to turn this team around. And sure, that's like it, right now. And it has been in this past. It's never been anything Rob Thompson has done when we've gotten out of slumps. He rolls with the same lineup every single time. Now, granted, that's what he's given, so it's hard for him to do anything else. But like, so it's almost hard for him to do anything else. But like, he has to make a statement with some of these players. I don't care if they're veterans. I don't care if they how much they mean to you on a personal level. Like Bohm in the playoffs last year, or like maybe it was last year or 2 years ago. They all starting to run together to me. When he's batting 150 in the playoffs and he won't move him out of the 4-hole because it's going to hurt his confidence. Well, guess what? He ain't winning his games and he's hurting us. Like it's blowing my freaking mind. And even I have to be real about Stott. I've been a Stott, wanting Stott in the leadoff position for a long time. Beginning of the year, it was working out great. It was awesome. Since May 1st, Stott is batting 195. Get him out of the leadoff spot. You cannot have your leadoff hitter batting 195 since May 1st. You need the guy to get on base, which he works a lot of counts. He does a lot of things that a leadoff hitter should be doing, but it's not working right now. You need to shake something up. You need to get something in these guys' head that, hey, you need to start performing or there's going to be consequences. Because right now, all these guys are playing like, whatever, I'm going to be in the lineup tomorrow. And whatever, I'm still getting paid. And that all starts with Rob Thompson in my eyes. And it pisses me off to no end.
Here's a quick on Rob Thompson before you continue this. Thompson, a career bench coach, never was supposed to be a manager.
I love that, Steve. Mark DeRosa.
He's great. And you know what? If not DeRosa, who we'll see his second go around in the Classic in 2026. So that's fun. He did a good job last year. Definitely. And he's great to watch on MLB Network. So there's that. And there's been a lot of guys that have been DeRosa hasn't really been a manager besides the World Baseball Classic, but there has been guys that have been managers, go to MLB Network, and then get jobs. We've seen that a handful of times. So D-Rose already with the network. That would be cool. But there's guys like Bud Black, Buck Showalter, who could be interesting. I don't know how about Joe Madden. I don't know how these guys, if they want to continue their career. But there are guys out there, too, if you don't want to continue keeping a bench coach there. I think that's that. How about this one? Because you touched on the pen. You might get more into it. I don't know where you're going to go with this. But, that is true. We talked about that a lot. There's this one, too, with Steve. Window closed when they got rid of Reese. Total Vibe guy sends the wrong message when you get rid of a main piece like that. Don't disagree. Reese is a great piece here, and he's playing some decent ball.
I mean, I touched on Reese last episode. I don't know if Steve saw it, but like when you get rid of a guy like Reese, it almost like all of the fight in this team comes from the guys who have been there when you suck. They have been there through the bad times. They've been like, you think about that whole playoff run, especially in the Braves series. The whole thing went with Reese. The bat spike versus Spencer Strider, getting the Philly fans pumped up. You talk about even Gene Segura was there when they sucked too. He did it during the Cardinals series. You get rid of Gene Segura. It was time for him to go, and you can say it was also time to move on from Reese as well. whatever. But a guy like Reese means a lot to the organization. A guy who's been there, a guy who's fiery, a guy who knows what it means to play in Philly. And that hurts a team when you get rid of a guy like that. And he is right. They sent the wrong message when they got rid of him like that.
I couldn't agree more. He was there in the dark ages in like the mid-late 2010s.
The dark ages, dude.
And he came up through the
left field when he came up.
Yeah, came up through the pit. So yeah, he really embodied that city and organization, and then had some really good moments with them when they got good in the playoffs. And then finally, because you touched on Dombrowski,
he beat me to it.
I was going to say that's why I thought this was a good transition, because you touched on Dombrowski earlier, and I think you're going to player stuff now. And now, how about this one, Marsh for Ohapi, bad trade? If you want to transition to your next one here, because I think you're going to the players now.
Yeah, so I am getting into players. So everybody knows we have outfield problems. It's kind of like the number one right now. Center field and left field is atrocious. Actually, hold on, I have a stat here. Look at me, I came prepared today, Spin. Philly center fielders this season, batting .221 overall, .295 OBP, .303 slugging, and a .598 OPS. Bottom of the MLB. Left fielders, .206 batting average, .310 OBP, .368 slugging, .678 OPS, and negative 0.1 fWAR. Bottom of the MLB. Here are the outfielders we've had the past couple years. Brandon Marsh, Johan Rojas, Max Kepler, Whit Merrifield, Jake Cave, Christian Pache, Cal Stevenson, and Odubel Herrera. The two guys who aren't on the team anymore, who have put together a little bit of decent careers. Matt Vierling is with the Tigers now. He's been hurt this year. He ain't great. He's nothing great. He's better than what we have, though. And he was a young guy. He came up through the organization as well. Shipped him out. You know who we shipped him out for?
Who's that?
Gregory Soto.
I was going to guess that. Okay.
Yeah, the All-Star, Gregory Soto. You know why he was an All-Star? Because everybody has to make an All-Star team from each team. That's the only reason he was an All-Star. Guess what? He was on our team for 2 years and didn't pitch one memorable inning of. Actually, that's a lie. He pitched in the playoffs once, one inning, looked pretty good. That was it. That was all we got out of him. That was the most notable thing Gregory Soto did. And then Cody Clemens. See ya, Cody Clemens. He's gone. He's mashing for the Twins right now. And also on top of that, he's doing it in crunch time too. I see it all the time in late innings. Cody Clemens is giving his team a chance to win baseball games because guess what? He hits with runners in scoring position. Something that all these guys I just listed have never done in their whole entire lives. I talked about it. Brandon Marsh, 1 out, bases loaded the other day, 3-0 count, strikes out looking. I mean, DFA him, get rid of Brandon Marsh. I liked Brandon Marsh for vibes for a little bit of time, but holy hell is he bad now. Hold on 1 second. I keep trying to get Cody Clemens' stats out. I just typed in Kobe by accident. Also, what he touched upon, the Marsh, the Logan Ohapi trade for Marsh. I mean, Mickey Moniak was also in that trade. Good riddance to him. He got DFA'd by the Angels. He's on the Rockies now. Baseball purgatory. He's not doing great. Fine to get rid of him. Logan Ohapi's been one of the best catchers in baseball this year. And what we got back for him basically was Brandon Marsh, who has been nothing but bad this year, and Noah Syndergaard, who I don't even know where Noah Syndergaard is anymore. So with Dombrowski making that sort of trade, definitely we lost that one. We have lost every single trade we've made, honestly, in the past couple of years.
Here's one for you, too, while you're on the topic. Sir Anthony for Austin Hayes.
Yeah, I wasn't going to bring that one up because Sir Anthony looked really bad towards the end of his Phillies tenure, and Austin Hayes was pretty, just horrible on top of it. So that was just a bad trade overall in my eyes. I don't know how Sir Anthony's looked this year on top of it, but it hasn't been great. But then also, on top of that, Stott and Bohm are right now, you would say they're entering their prime, quote unquote, right? Well, they just seem to be regressing no matter what. Right now, Stott has a 644 OPS and Bohm has a 688 OPS.
Does that look good on Bohm though? Is he trending upwards?
Somewhat. But here's the thing. This also goes back to a little bit of Kevin Long. Like Kevin Long, both of these guys should be hitting their stride. Bohm has shown any sense of getting his power up. He's still just a hit to contact guy, which, hey, we're hit to contact guys over here on this podcast. But with a big dude like Bohm is, he should be getting under that ball and being able to drive in more runs, being able to hit the ball out a little bit more. But hey, we do like contact. We're fans of contact. But like a guy with like Stott has one of the best approaches in baseball. How are you not helping his swing? A guy like Kevin Long, who's been in the league for this long, should be able to see what's going on with Stott, get him in the cage, get him doing some drills, and get him focused back in. Stott is not a bad baseball player. He's not a bad hitter. We've seen what he can do. Beginning of this year, he was doing awesome. How are you not like looking at what's going on and then helping this team out? And we get guys that go in slumps for months at a time before anything's done about it. I mean, I don't know what's going on behind closed doors, but I mean, Kevin Long, get your head out of your ass. For the love of God, I don't care that you're best friends with Bryce Harper and Trey Turner and Kyle, and you were with Kyle Schwarber when he was with the Nationals. I don't give a shit. I care what's going on right now. I don't care what you mean to baseball. I need to see like production. I need to see what like stats. I need to see this team actually hit the freaking baseball.
That feel good to get that off your chest?
Yes, somewhat. I mean, I still like if Weston Wilson's on this team by Friday, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't know what I'm at a loss for words at this point. Because everybody who pays attention knew that at some point knew this was going to happen, because we are in reality running it back with the same exact team. So everything that happened in the playoffs, everything that happened the year before, it's going to just repeat itself. We just ran it back with the same team. But guess what? Everybody's 1 year older now. And these older guys, they take a step back. Schwarber's supposed to be this beast in June. He hasn't looked great in June. Maybe that's over. He looked awesome in May. He's still like top of the world in home runs, probably top 5 in home runs in the MLB. But like hasn't looked great. Cassie's Cassie. We know what we're getting with him. Bryce Harper, since he had his injury and with the UCL or whatever, he's just had lingering injuries from here on out. Turner's glove is horrible. Rojas can't hit. Marsh can't hit. Bohm looks like a mopey bitch 95% of the time. Stott apparently can't hit. JT's older now. Shout out to our starting pitching, who has kept us in these games for most of the time. And shout out Jesus Luzardo, who's looked awesome minus his last 2 starts. That's really all. I mean, I don't have a whole lot of good to say about this Phillies team anymore.
Would you like this trade? Duran and Chapman, touch on the pen, touch on an outfielder.
It depends what they want. You know what I mean?
Be a lot for Duran.
Exactly. It would be a lot for Duran. But I think we talked about it last time when we talked about a little trade deadline talk. I would love to see Duran in the Phillies jersey. I'm a big fan of Duran. Steve knows why I'm a big fan of Duran. But that's kind of what I got for the Phillies right now. And now we go to play the Cubs this week, one of the best hitting teams in baseball. We'll see. It's a sad time to be a Phillies fan right now, because you think about, I mean, we played the Brewers. They're a decent team. They ain't great. Swept. Blue Jays are hot right now, but still not a great team. Lose a series. And then the Pittsburgh fucking Pirates. Swept. Bryce Harper's now on the IL. Like it's dark days right now. And then I got to go on Twitter and see these goddamn Mets fans all on the top of the world. Oh, the East runs through us. The East runs through us. It makes me want to fucking jump off my roof, dude. I can't. It's a dark time for me right now, Spin.
I think they can certainly find it. They're too good on paper not to. But yeah.
But if they find it, like how do I think that anything, if nothing happens on the trade deadline, how do I think anything different is going to happen in the playoffs?
They're always pretty good at the deadline. Like they'll bring it. I don't know if they're going to make a huge splash.
But what do you mean pretty good at the deadline? Who have they brought in the past couple years at the deadline that's helped them?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they're going to necessarily make a big splash. They certainly need to. I don't know if they're make a huge, like crazy splash like Duran Chapman would be like blockbuster shit. I don't know
Yeah.
if they're going to do that, but they will bring in relievers, and there's a handful of notable guys that we talked about in the past that would seriously help. But yeah, I'm with you, and I think that they have guys to get rid of as well. Like, you know what I mean? Now, do they do that? Because there's a surplus of outfielders and young guys in the mix. So
It's at the point you can be on one side of the fence. It's you want to keep our prospects so we have a future, or you want to win with the guys we have right now. And depending what side of the fence you like land on is what you're going to get this trade, is what you're kind of hoping for this trade deadline.
I'm with you. That's a good way to put it. I do think that they bring in some bullpen help, but how notable it's going to be is a different story, and how well they perform in a Phillies jersey, that it will only be told by the test of time. But let's continue our talk with some young guys, because we've been on Caglione watch, and he had a pretty good little weekend. 4-hit day yesterday. He's been pretty much in that 6-hole for Kansas City, playing right field, lefty bat that deepens the lineup. 4 for 4 yesterday for Caglione. So really good stuff there for the young Jack.
He's the first rookie to have a 4-hit game in his first. This is a weird stat, but you know how I do love the baseball nerds that find these stats because they're really interesting to me.
Yeah.
First rookie to do this in his first 6 games since Bo Jackson back in the day.
Really cool. Really cool to be in the same. Both Royals, I guess. They're both been Royals.
I mean, I love his swing. Just like looking at him, like taking it bat, it's like it's got power, it's quick, and the ball flies off of his bat, dude. It flies. It's hard liners everywhere.
Yeah, he does. He looks like a hitter, right? He's hitter. He's hitterish, as they say. Yeah, so good for him. And they lost that series, so they're 3-3 since he's come up. But just him being in that line, now we saw the production yesterday with the 4-hit day. The homers will come when they come. He'll get more ribbies, you know. He just has to continue to get his feet wet at the major league level. So
give these guys time. Give them time. Let them see some major league pitching.
Exactly. So any major league pitching and any experience is going to be good experience for him. I know they played the White Sox, but the White Sox, it's not like they have terrible starters. You know,
we talked about it when we did our Wet Hot American weekend. They had at least it was like two good guys going for him. And
I don't even sleep on like a Davis Martin or whatever the fuck his name is. Shane Burke's been a really good rookie. And whoever else pitched in that series, Adrian Hauser's been sneaky, really good. So they have some sneaky arms. They're still major league arms. And I know it's the White Sox. They did lose the series. You don't like to see that if you're a Royals fan. But yeah, any major league experience for him is going to be good. So we're seeing that at a consistent rate now. So really good stuff there. All right. I don't think we have a lot to say about Caglione. I think the next thing is the rivalry week. So what the fuck is this? Let's just fantasy. But if you were to keep one, Casty, Hunter Goodman, and Nick, the Lancaster Milkman Kurtz.
Yeah, has that name caught on yet? Have we gotten that?
No, but it's about to. For those of you who don't know, Nick Kurtz is the Lancaster Milkman, is what we call him. Nick, the Lancaster Milkman Kurtz. He's from Lancaster, PA, so you got to represent. Casty, Hunter Goodman, and I mean, I'm dropping Kurtz. This is like a do, marry, kill. Killing Kurtzy. Isn't he hurt?
Kurtz, he's hurt. He was hurt. I don't know if he's even back.
I don't know. I'm off of Kurtzy. Goodman's been good. I don't know why you have to drop Casty or Goodman, because I think Casty in the long run is better, but Goodman's better right now. And actually, Casty, you didn't touch on him with the Phils. He's having a pretty decent year.
Well, no, Casty. You know what you're gonna get. He's gonna hit like a 270 average. His power's diminished a smidge.
Drop one is Kurtz.
Drop Nick. Pause. Kurtz.
That's who I'm off of.
And then kind of call it a day. And I don't want that to sound like we're completely off on him, because we think he's gonna be good. Like, once again, these guys, they just have to see some major league pitching for a while. So I think you drop him, but next year look him in the late rounds.
Yeah, I think even maybe late in the season he gets off the IL and maybe he starts performing. Maybe he'll be out there because he's hurt. I don't know when he's coming back. I just fucking searched him too. So maybe he's set to come back soon. So who knows if he's still there? You drop him, set to come back today, I guess. But anyway, I like Casty. He's been performing. You kind of know what you're going to get out of him. And Hunter Goodman's appealing. I don't know how many sexy catchers there are, but he does qualify for catcher, and that can help too.
I do know why he's kind of saying Kurtz, because right before Kurtz got hurt, he started to get a little hot. He started getting his swing back and started I mean, he had been up for a couple weeks then, and he started to finally see some pitching, and he started to look pretty good. But I would probably drop him over the other two.
I think so too. Let's get to the rivalry weekend because, or the rivalry over the weekend, I should put it, where Boston took Friday, Saturday's game after the Yankees won the first one. So the first time they matched up in 2025. We'll see them again this weekend in Fenway. But interesting stuff for the rivalry. We both had the Yankees take a 2 out of 3. Boston not playing great baseball, but the bats showed up in the Bronx for sure.
Yeah.
Like 4 home runs yesterday.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Like with the Red Sox and Yankees, the biggest thing is like the Red Sox could suck and the Yankees could be the best team in baseball, and this would still be a hard series.
Yeah, they're
Like,
gonna bring their A game right against this team.
Consistently. The Red Sox in the Bronx scored, let's see, 27 runs in 3 games. So I mean, the bats were there. It's not like the pitching. It was definitely not a pitching duel in any sense of the word. It was high scoring games every single day, and the Red Sox just they kind of came to play. They were looking to build momentum off of this series, and they did. In my eyes, I think they're gonna, but they needed to build momentum. They knew they could do it against playing the Yankees. Kind of the question I want to pose to you is, like, I've seen a lot of people on Twitter saying that the Dodgers and the Red Sox series really showed some of the true colors of this Yankees team. Do you kind of agree with that? Are you starting to see more flaws that you're a little bit more worried about now, or are you still like standing steady with your team and believe in this team?
Well, of course, I'm staying steady and I believe in them. But yeah, of course, those whoever's on Twitter say that I think is absolutely correct. It's probably Yankee fans are probably also talking about that because I think it's true. These, Yankee fans, much like Philly fans, they know shit. They follow this on a regular basis, so they're not like these aren't idiotic fan bases. They know the team, and yeah, and sometimes it's not about. I mean, you do want to win the series, but a lot of times it's also about how you win the series. And for Boston to take the next 2 after they lose the first one, they win the series 2 out of 3, but it was the second and third game. So, like, that's momentum right there. And that really puts a dagger in the hearts of Yankee fans right there because, it's like, okay, you had Crochet on Saturday, fine, but you got to get back at it on Sunday. And Boston prevailed. And like you said, it was a lot of offense for them. I think they hit 4 home runs yesterday or some shit like that. Yankee pitching – fuck, man. I don't know what to think because it was really good. Rodon didn't pitch bad, but when you look at the box score, you'll see 5 runs and 5 innings. So it doesn't look pretty on a box score, but the first 5 innings were great. And then he pitched in the 6th. I don't think he got an out and started to give up more runs. So it might have been like a 2 or 3 run home or whatever the fuck it was, but it'll look worse than it actually was. But Rodon was looked really good. And when you need him to show out against a rival like that, they got to him and they knocked him out of the game. The bullpen has been, wow. You like to think it can do well, look pretty good on Friday. Like when things are going right, it's like, okay, Yankee pen can do it. And then when you need them to keep you in a game, like Saturday and Sunday, the Red Sox continue to tack on. I was kind of impressed by the Yankee offense and how they were able to, they still struggle sometimes with guys on base. Guys in scoring, because they seem to strand a lot of fucking runners. They're not really this historically, as far back as I can remember, they've never really this team that really could pass the baton and take advantage of guys on base and take advantage of those opportunities. They're really live and die by the homer, as we say. If a homer's not coming, that's their rally. Their rally is, okay, a guy gets on base and then maybe a leadoff double. And if he's going to get home, it's going to be from a 2-run homer. It's never like, they see all this, I see all over the weekend and maybe even in the Cleveland series where they're getting guys in scoring position with less than 2 outs and then they strand base runners. So it's too much of stranding base runners. There's not a lot of bats right now I trust in the order. Good to see Trent Grisham move down in the order because he shouldn't be in the leadoff spot anymore. But when Ben Rice and Grisham were going well at the beginning of the year, yeah, that was great. But now, you need more and you start to see Goldie trending down a little bit too. You need more than that. Volpe's been kind of steady, if anything, a little bit better than how he started. And you start to see Bellinger rather play good baseball. Judge is still Judge, so there's still pieces there. Hopefully Stanton comes back and deepens the lineup and answers some questions there. But my biggest thing, and touches more on your question, is I was saying the same thing yesterday. Like you go to the Dodgers, you lose 2 out of 3. Part of it is the pitching too, because the pitching was keeping them afloat for a long time. And you start to see the Dodgers get to Yankee pitching in the first 2 games of that series last weekend. And then Yarbrough comes out and shoves. Then you kind of go to a Cleveland series. You take 2 out of 3 from Cleveland. Great. They always can take advantage of the central teams. I think they lost the series against Cleveland at the beginning of the year, but now they take 2 out of 3 this time. So I'm not worried about them against Cleveland teams. I'm not worried about them against teams that are maybe kind of floating around 500 or even under 500. I know Boston's under 500, but again, a little bit of a different story with them being the rivals, So I'm not worried about them with under 500 teams or even central teams. Maybe the Tigers this year, but we'll see when that happens. Now they have Kansas City to start this year, the start this week, and there's some good pitchers in Kansas City. But am I like terribly worried of Kansas City? I'm not like terribly scared of them. The pitching is good and there's some notables, but I'm not really worried about them when they face central opponents. I'm not worried about them when they face bad teams because they can take advantage of them. But when they come time to taking care of business, and we talked about this last time, I don't think they take care of business against big rivalry teams, or maybe teams like Houston always gave them trouble in the playoffs in the past. And that kind of became a rivalry. And Houston had their fucking numbers for how long? The Dodgers, of course, like you want to beat these fucking series. You got to prove that you can beat good teams. And they scare the hell out of me when they do that. And it also scares the hell out of me when the pitching, we're just keeping you afloat. Guys like Will Warren and Yarbrough at the back end have been surprises. Well, Will Warren kind of got shelled a little bit. I think he pitched good against Boston. He did. That was the only game they won. But he kind of got shelled. He got his bell rang in Chavez Ravine. Yarbrough got his bell rang this week after he pitched well in Chavez Ravine. So, yeah, the pitching has been what that is pretty good, but has been getting wrecked a little bit more as we progress over the course of a season. So that scares me a little bit because even Fried got wrecked in Chavez Ravine. Still trust Fried. I still trust Rodon. I still don't hate this staff, but maybe Schmidt got pitched. I don't even know. But I'm just saying there's been guys that have come into this staff, and there was question marks in this staff that had answered any questions that might have been lingering at the beginning of the season. They've answered any questions, and now it's like against good teams, well, they pounce on you, and the way Yankees score runs isn't good enough to compete with these good teams. And I hate to put Boston in the same boat as these good teams, but listen, when they want to get back on track, they don't view themselves as an under 500 team. On paper, they're too good, and they have too many notables, and they certainly want to kick your fucking ass if you're the Yankees, especially. So you're not taking anybody lightly, but you got to be able to score with guys on base. Bullpen has to figure it the fuck out without Weaver because there's some guys in that pen that are scary. I was impressed with the Yankee offense that they continue to kind of put together some runs, like maybe 2 runs here, 2 runs, whatever. They were able to do that a little bit and manufacture hits. But man, yeah, it's really frustrating, and they certainly need some help in that to deepen a rotation. Maybe Weaver comes back and helps they certainly need help to deepen the batting order. Maybe that's Stanton when he comes back. I don't fucking know. I would love something. I don't fucking know. But
I mean, for your guys' sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but like for your guys' offense, the Red Sox scored 27 runs. You guys scored 23.
Yeah, they weren't. It's not like they weren't close games. Like I was happy with the Yankees offense, and people. And the Yankees can always score runs, but it's about like how they score. Like I just need them to, in a pitching duel. If you want to get on Crochet, which I don't think they Crochet might have gave up 5 runs too. But to get on these guys, like you got to score early and often. It has to be more than just a home run. That seems to be their main way of scoring runs, which I don't love. But then again, they need help in that pen. Even though on paper I don't hate the pen, but they need more help there. Maybe Luke Weaver comes back. But how do you stay afloat until Luke Weaver comes back? Well, guys have to step the fuck up. Guys have to start waking up in that offense. I don't know if it's an Austin Wells, who I do think is better than what his numbers would say. But if it's Austin Wells, if it's, love to see Ben Rice be a big bat. Because when the Yankees were at their peak, Ben Rice was, Trent Grisham was. And now we're not really seeing that. Jason Dominguez, he pisses me off. So that's that. What the fuck before we move on. Okay. All right. But that's kind of how it was, and maybe some true colors being shown. I mean, the Yankees were going for their 40th win of the season yesterday, and that would have been like the 4th team in baseball, 2nd team in the AL to 40 wins. Instead, they're 39-25, so they're 5-5 in their last 10, and they're playing some more notable teams. Cleveland's not awful, but I'm not worried about Cleveland. They're not a bad team, but you can beat up on those teams. How do you beat up on the Dodgers? How do you beat up on the rivalry with the Red Sox? That's what's been gonna be a question that will be hopefully answered, and hopefully this is a different team than last year.
Something to note for you guys: this is your last off day until the 26th of June.
Holy shit balls!
Yeah,
That's a lot of East Coast matchups then, right? A lot of
yeah,
East
you
Coast
got a
matchups.
lot. You have a lot of games coming up, and it starts with the Royals on Tuesday.
Well, fuck. We'll see. They got some good pitching. How can you hit? So that's another thing, right? Like the Yankees scare me against good pitching sometimes. They scare me against really good teams sometimes. Like if you're a fucking like who's like if you're Detroit, you roll in. They were the home team, granted. So were the Yankees this past weekend, but Detroit was the home team, and the Cubs come to town. I'm scared shitless if the Cubs come to town because they're a good team that can get you with their offense. Detroit takes care of business and they win the series because they're the real deals right now. I like teams that can take care of business that way. It doesn't matter who you throw at them, the better team prevails, and that's what Detroit has been doing. We've seen it with Houston teams in the past. The Braves teams in the past have done these things. Sometimes the Phillies scare me because they haven't necessarily done that. In the playoffs, maybe different story. Sometimes the Phillies scare you because they do shit like that. Like when do you take? Sometimes the Rays have proven to take care of business when you have like. There's teams that do it. The Dodgers can do it. Maybe the Padres. Like there's teams all around the league that the Cubs can too, even though I just shit on them. But realistically, they've had a tough schedule at the beginning of the year, and they're in first place.
They're the best team in baseball for a long time.
Yeah, and they had their strength of schedule could have just been the hardest out of all, right? So I don't see that with the Yankees consistently enough to be able to exhale when these series emerge. So we'll see it against KC, but fucking get something more light. More light, like a AUSL opening weekend, which was fun to watch.
I didn't get a chance to watch these because I was working all weekend, so I'm going to let you touch on most of it.
Well, I don't have much to say. We'll just talk about my team is the Bandits. They split the weekend. We'll see more of the AUSL. I think maybe today and tomorrow, whatever the fuck it is. They travel a lot. Their schedule's so hard. You got to go on their website and figure out how the fuck they travel because none of them have homes, and it's like this tour. So like I know someone's going from like Illinois to Louisiana or some shit. Like that's like how they travel. So it's kind of crazy. But anyway, Bandits split the series with the Talons, and the Volts are kind of the real deal. They took two. They took both over the Blaze. So the Volts might be pretty fucking good. But that's
Chattanooga Volts.
Chattanooga. Yeah, is that what it was?
Yeah, was it? I'm pretty sure we went with the Volts.
I forget. But Volts look good. Bandits, shout out Bubba Nichols. That's my girl on the Bandits. Bubba Nichols. Camarina. She has a hyphenated last name. It's like Nichols Camarina, but we just call her Bubba Nichols, and she's an absolute beast. So let's see the Bandits bounce back. But it was fun. Good little inaugural season and opening day. But I do have a bone to pick though with the AUSL. I do have a fucking bone to pick.
What's that spin?
I mean, when Saturday was opening day, and it's all about making history, reviving the professional softball because there hasn't been a league in a few years now, and you put the first game made sense. It was Bandits Talons at like maybe 3:00. Then the second game was Blaze and Volts at like 7 or 7:30, whatever the fuck it was. Yankees and Red Sox are playing at 7:30, 7:35. What the fuck is that?
Yeah.
You can't talk about this. It might have been 6:00, 6:30, whatever, Wichita time, whatever the fuck they were. But I mean, come on. You're gonna put the Yankees Red Sox, which was on Fox, so you're already branding that the best game of the weekend, or like you're giving that the spotlight for MLB, which makes sense and it should have been. But then you're gonna put the softball game at fucking the same time. So now what the fuck is that? You have to put the softball game at like maybe 5:00 or at least 6. Put it before, because 5:00 would have been 4:00 Wichita time. I think I don't know if that's right.
I don't know, maybe.
But if that's the case, then maybe that bleeds over again for the first. Fine, put the fucking first softball game at 2, have it end at 4, and then start the other game at 4, have it end at 6. Then you have an hour to decompress before the Yankees, or 90 minutes to decompress before the Yankees come on. The Yankees Red Sox, which is easily the most notable baseball or softball game of the weekend. Whatever fucking
want to do like what
balls are getting hit with bats. Yankees Red Sox was the main talking point. I don't care if it's softball, baseball. That was the main thing. That's what you want to tune into at 7:30. You can't put the softball game on at the same time.
You don't want to make this into a MLB versus AUSL thing, and that's what you're going to do if you pair them at the same time. You're not like you don't want to do what the WNBA and the NBA does. Right now, all you hear about is like WNBA versus NBA. That's all it is. It's never you want them to uplift each other. And if you're putting important games like the first game of the year on at the same time as the Yankees Red Sox, you're just going to start unintentionally pairing them together and pairing them against each other, and you do not want that. That's going to be horrible.
I just think you had some time to fill in between the games. Why wait so long and then put it on there? Because now I have to, like, I want to watch the opening day and I watch the Bandits and shit. But what am I doing? I'm watching the one game on my phone and I have the Yankees on the TV.
Yeah.
Come on, you want to be able to comfortably watch on a Saturday, sit down, watch a ball game, and comfortably watch every single one. And then nighttime comes and you're watching the rivalry. That's what you want with Crochet on the mound. It was a big game.
Yeah.
But anyway, great weekend though, all in all, with AUSL. It's real fun. It's really fun, and the comments seem to be high on Brie Ellis.
Brie Ellis, is that the slugger?
You remember this guy? Do you remember this guy?
Coach Neff. Wait, why does that sound so familiar?
He's like historic softball coach at Southern Lehigh.
I
hope he's still alive, Steve. You dick. All right, let's move on because that was a good little AUSL. I'm hyped for it. I don't know how much I watched like during the week, like now, but I think there's be more games on today. But go Bandits, all in all. Here's something I saw on TikTok though, Sean, with these bold takes. I don't think you've seen these yet.
No, I haven't yet. This is gonna be the first time.
And I saw this like a couple days ago, and I figured we could talk about it today. So I kind of forget them too. But basically, the headline of it was it's from a BR Walk-Off on TikTok.
Okay.
You know them?
Yeah.
They're pretty fucking notable. But this says bold take 60 games into the 2025 season.
Okay.
Bold takes. So it's their bold takes. And I think what we could do is rate the take 1 through 10. 10 being that's super fucking out there, like super hot. 1 being it's not a hot take. Rate the take and then give your opinion on the take.
All right.
So here's number 1. Detroit Tigers are the best team in baseball. This was 60 games in. Now we're a little bit more, but Detroit Tigers. This is kind of cold though.
Yeah, that's like at most a 3. I'd put it at a 2 because they just took a Cubs team came into town and talk about handling business. They did what they needed to do. They won the series 2 out of 3. Their pitchers shoved. Their hitting showed up. They took one of the best offenses in baseball, arguably the best offense in baseball, and for 2 of those games held them to 1 run. Granted, the Cubs got to them on Saturday a little bit, but Flattery and Skubal, they shut them down. So they scored 1 run on Friday, and the Cubs only scored 0 runs on Sunday. So this Tigers team, they got the most wins in baseball. Their pitching is phenomenal. They're hitting at it. Their lineup is hitting the shit out of the baseball. How do you not say they're the best? They're the best team in baseball.
Yeah, that's a cold take. It's definitely probably like a 1 or 2 because record-wise would say that they are the best. Maybe on paper.
People want to get cute and then talk about like the Dodgers and stuff like that. But guess what? The Tigers are doing it better right now.
Yeah, right now. Okay, yeah, because this does say 60 games in. They have the best record. I would give them that too. How they move forward. And how that they stay hot, how they look in the playoffs with not a lot of playoff experience. It's different. How they look like on paper, how does that prevail long term? That's different, but they seem to have the pitchers to do it. Yeah, that's a cold take. Good stuff there for Detroit. How about this one? Pete Crow Armstrong has been the National League MVP. Where things stand right now.
I'd put it at like a 5. That's like middle of the road for me because you can make the argument both ways. You can talk about some other notable people like Freddie Freeman's not getting enough love over there in LA. You can talk about a guy on his own team and Kyle Tucker. But there are like even like a Corbin Carroll. I know the Corbin Carroll's not really. I mean the Diamondbacks as a whole aren't really doing it. But like even there's a lot of people that you could talk about. Like Shohei, even I know we're not big on him just DHing, but he's leading the league in home runs as well. PCA is definitely in that conversation, 110%. I believe that this year he's killing it. He's got he's leading the NL. He's got a 365 average. When was this? Actually, when was this?
No, his average is lower than that.
No, this was. Oh, okay, so this was written last week. So it's lower than that. Still high in the 300s. He plays Gold Glove defense. But yeah, I don't think it's too outlandish. I think
He's hitting 277, but I don't hate that.
wait, why does this have 365? Oh, I was looking at Freddie. Never mind. Freddie's got a 365 average. Just kidding. The guy says that doesn't get enough love, but no, PCA's been doing it this year. I don't know if he is the MVP, but he definitely has a case for it. So I put it at like a 5.
I'm with you. I think it's middle of the road at 5, and it's a lot because it's still early and there has to be a lot to, still a lot left of the season. So you have to look at the whole season, not just the first few months. So yeah, middle of the road because it's still early, but he is in that conversation. So middle of the road. Okay, there's nothing to worry about with Juan Soto.
All right, so I'm gonna put this one as a 7, as like you're turning the stove on. It's getting a little bit hot. The only reason I say this, not talent wise at all, simply his demeanor is the biggest thing that worries me the most about it. It's what we've talked about it before with Juan Soto. He's an unbelievable talent. We know he's probably going to get back to where he is. But when you pay a guy that much money, you want him to be a leader in the clubhouse. It's going to take him a little bit to become that leader. But right now, with his whole demeanor, in a sense, is really what throws me off. He looks like he's like almost sad. And granted, nobody likes going through slumps. We talked about this might be the first slump he's ever gone through in his whole entire life. So he doesn't really know how to react to it. So I think there is a smidge to worry about. Definitely not a whole lot, though.
Okay, where do you rank it 1 through 10?
I'd say like a 7.
Okay, I'm probably on the other side of the spectrum. I'm probably like at a 3 or a 4 here. Or wait, that there's nothing to worry about. Okay, yeah, so I'm with you then, 7, because there's nothing to worry about. Yeah, I'm with you then. So 7. Because the Mets are still in first place. Even if he's cold, he is going to deepen a lineup, put together good at bats, get on base for you. So he can still do that. Even when cold. I think we talked about that last time. But then he runs into a team like Colorado and goes 6 for 11 in the series. He's hitting 333 in his last 7. And he's starting to wake up a little bit. And the Mets have been good without really his MVP prowess type of shit. So not crazy worried there. Okay, the Dodgers have become the biggest loser of this past offseason.
The biggest loser?
The biggest losers, like in the offseason, like who they brought in.
That's like so if it's a hot take, if we think it's a hot take, we're saying 10.
Like none of their offseason acquisitions are living up to par, basically.
10.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's stupid.
We gotta look who they brought in the offseason though.
Teoscar Hernandez, he was hurt for a little bit, but he's been solid for them. Tommy Edman, they brought in the past. Was that last offseason or this offseason?
That was last deadline.
So last deadline, I'll count it as this offseason. He's been solid for them. Plays a good glove. Blake Snell, he's been hurt, so I can see where they say they lose in that aspect. Blake Snell is still a very good pitcher. We're going to see how he gets coming back from injury. They obviously signed Shohei to that massive deal that was 2 off seasons ago. Who else did they bring in this past offseason?
Well, so this past offseason, Ha-Seong Kim, but he's looked all right when he plays.
He's looked great.
But Snell, who you said, Sasaki, maybe some relievers. They have a lot of injuries, I think, is what they're getting at here. So with all the injuries and big contracts that are hurt, compared to a team like who else had a decent offseason? Like compared to the Yankees, where they brought in Bellinger and Goldschmidt, not as maybe it's not Snell and shit like that, who has 2 Cy Youngs, whatever.
Yeah.
But the Bellinger and Goldschmidt are playing better as off-season signings than what Snell and Sasaki are doing, given the money and given that they're supposed to be more in their prime, dare I say.
But the biggest loser, I think, is an extreme stretch for me. I look at a guy like Teoscar Hernandez who held them up in the beginning of the year.
Tanner Scott too, another one.
Sasaki's a crybaby. Steve, you think everybody's a crybaby? I mean, Jesus. Sasaki, he's hurt. Snell's hurt, but I still don't think they're bad signings, at all. I think they're still going to be good signings. Yeah, they're hurt right now, but guess what? They're still winning games. So what does it matter that they're hurt?
Yeah, I think if you just look at it from who they brought in standpoint, yeah, their offseason signings haven't been especially for the amount you're going to go out and get Snell for and what you signed Sasaki for. Maybe even Tanner Scott, who was supposed to be the best reliever in the out of the free agents this past free agent class. I think when you look at it like that, it's like, damn, like some of their offseason side, but they're so deep and good as it is, it doesn't really hurt them. But yeah, I don't think that they're like necessarily their offseason signings has been like a huge reason for that.
I don't see it as being them being the biggest loser. You know what I mean?
I see. I could see that. It's almost like some of the biggest losers are teams that just don't do anything at all. Okay, how about this? Texas Rangers are the biggest disappointment in baseball.
One. I think that's spot on. We talk about it all the time, how disappointing they have been. That lineup should be doing so much more than they actually are. The pitching's been there for them, and they still can't get it done. When you have a top two of just DeGrom and Eovaldi, you want to see this team win games when they go out there, and they just haven't been able to do it. We both had the Rangers winning that division, and they are sitting now in third place, 4 games under 500. They're still not completely out of it because like the AL isn't great, and they're still only 4.5 games back out of a wild card spot. So like there's still a chance for them, but like as of right now, to me, they've been extremely disappointing. I mean, I guess you could throw like the Braves ahead of them because you think about the Braves, like with that talent, they're 10 games under 500 right now, 14 games back out of first place in the NL East. Definitely didn't think that was going to happen. So I guess for me, it would come down to those two teams. I might lean towards the Braves, but I'll give it to the Rangers.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. It's like maybe a 2 for me, 1 or 2, maybe a 1.
Yeah.
Because I do think it's spot on, and a lot of it is because you talked about the Braves, the Red Sox, and Orioles enter the chat.
Oh yeah, I forgot about the East. Yeah.
So, but it's not really a matter of. Obviously, they're disappointing, and it's the only reason that you kind of think about it is because there have been other disappointments too. And where do you rank how disappointing this team is versus how disappointing this other team is? And the way I do it is based on my preseason predictions. I had the Braves and Rangers both winning those divisions. I had the Red Sox in 2 and the Orioles in 3. So with that being said, I'm going to take the teams that I thought were going to win the division, and right now we're under 500. I'm going to make them bigger disappointments, and Texas is one of them. So they have been extremely disappointed. Okay, 2 more, but okay. So there was a ... an ellipsis, if you will, after that last one, and then it carries over. But the Boston Red Sox are right there with the Texas in the land of disappointment. I don't know if we kind of touched on that.
Yeah, I would say the Braves over the Red Sox, but
I would
Red
say
Sox
that
are up there.
And then I probably would say like Braves, Texas top 2, Red Sox are up there, Orioles are in the mix as well. Okay, and then that was it. We do have one from the chat. Skeens opening day for the Fire. Start opening
the Pirates are such a dog shit organization that they will keep him. He ain't getting traded.
That sucks for him. I think everyone has a price. Everyone has a price.
I don't know if they do. I mean, I can't even talk. We just got swept by that dog shit organization. So what can I say?
Yeah. How about McCutchen with a little base knock, broken bat knock?
Yeah, another notable Phillies outfielder from the past.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's run through some of these upcoming matchups. Some are cool, some are shit.
Yeah, we're going to do this a little differently for those of you who have watched in the past. We're going to kind of breeze through the ones we don't really want to talk about or we think aren't going to be too exciting. And then we're going to dive a little deeper into the ones that we think are going to get exciting. So, like, for example, like we got Cincinnati, Cleveland, Wade Miley, Andrew Abbott, and Lodolo going in that order, facing off against Ortiz, Slade Ciccone, and then a Logan Allen. I think the Guardians win 2 out of 3.
The Cleveland should win 2 out of 3. I mean, I like Abbott and Lodolo as pitchers. I think they're kind of under the radar guy. Abbott could be an all-star this year. He's that good. But yeah, Cleveland's at home. Battle of Ohio. Why do the kids call Ohio like a negative thing? You ever see the kids say that?
Yeah, because I mean, like, what are you going to do in Ohio?
That's true. Maybe go to a Cincy and Cleveland game and watch Cleveland take 2 out of 3. I'm right there with you. Cleveland should be the better team. They should win here. Even though Cincy just come off a sweep, but they'll come down to earth here.
And then we get into Miami, Pittsburgh, Yuri Perez versus Burrows. And then Miami's not sure who they're throwing for the next 2 days, but then you get to Mitch Keller and Bailey Falter. I'm going Pittsburgh probably 2 out of 3 here. Bailey Falter's looked pretty good this year. Mitch Keller's Mitch Keller. And I don't really know who Miami's throwing those 2 days. So I guess I'll roll. I'll roll with the Pittsburgh to stay hot.
Yeah, so Pittsburgh, They just coming up that sweep, so that's kind of crazy. Yuri Perez is the most notable storyline of this matchup or this series, really, because this is his first start off the IL. So good for Yuri Perez. Will be interesting to see how he looks coming off of this major fucking injury that he had. But yeah, fuck it. I don't really care. Flip a coin for each day. And that's who I have winning. Flip a coin. But I guess Pittsburgh's home. They just swept. Maybe they stay hot. Maybe Bailey Falter has looked good too. Maybe Miami's offense, light tower power, Stowers at PNC. It'd be fun. But that's the shitty one. Let's go to something that's not shitty, and it's Cubs at Philly. You
Could be. Damn well might be shitty, Spin.
Well, it's gonna have all eyes. It's tonight at 6:45 is the first game, Boyd and Wheeler. But what do you think about this guy? This way, it's at the bank and the Cubbies are in town.
Yeah, so Boyd Wheeler. This is Wheeler's first start back since being a certified sex haver and having a kid. Well done, congrats, Zach. Then we got Colin Ray versus Mick Abel. Mick Abel's been about the only good storyline for the Phillies in the past 2 weeks. He's been awesome. Every single time he gets out there, he wants to be there. He gets on the mound and he just pitches his ass off. So shout out to Mick. In reality, if we do make any trade deadline moves, Mick will probably be a part of it. Then you get to Ben Brown versus Jesus Luzardo. Luzardo obviously looking to get his confidence back in these next couple with this next start. I didn't get off. Get off. Then we get so Luzardo, something to note, Luzardo's last outing versus the Cubs, he was pretty good. This was his first real test of the year when he faced off against the Cubs. He went 6 innings, 5 Ks, 0 walks, and 0 earned. So maybe he can dip back a little bit into that magic. But Phillies lost 3 straight series, and I don't see it turning around anytime soon, especially with Harper being on the IL. Hopefully Otto Kemp can kind of start finding it here. I would love to see that automatic
at the bank. Maybe he has a big Philly moment at the bank.
Automatic Kemp. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Cubs dropped 2 out of 3 to the Tigers. The Phillies are 4.5 back. Cubs are 4 games up. I'm looking for Wheeler to shove tonight. I'm hoping this is going to be a pitching duel between Wheeler and Boyd. What's up?
He's got dad strength now.
Exactly. The second kid, he's going to get even more strength too. But I'm probably going to look for my sorrows to be drowned a little bit more tonight. And I think Wheeler's going to pitch fantastic, but I think the Cubs are going to get to our bullpen and win this game tonight. Tuesday, I'm riding with the Rook, man. Mick Abel's going to bounce us back and he's going to win us a game here, but then we still lose this series on Wednesday and Ben Brown does it and beats Luzardo.
Damn, so you have the Cubs tonight and Wednesday.
Yep.
Damn, you lost all hope.
I have.
Well, you're going to see Wheeler go out and shove first start back. And Boyd, dare I say he's the ace of their staff? Dare I say that? What's Imanaga's issue?
I think he's still hurt, isn't he?
He's still hurt. So right now, Boyd's the ace. So this is the battle of the aces tonight. And Boyd has been a fucking dog, as the comments said. Wheeler's been is Zach Wheeler. I mean, come on. So you like to think that the Phillies could bounce back. You know, is this the team that's gonna? I mean, fuck, they just got swept. I mean, come on. So you like to think they could bounce back? What did they lose 5 in a row?
No. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, they lost 5 in a row. They lost the last 2 to Toronto, and then they just got swept. So yeah.
So you like to think they could turn that around, even though Boyd's a dog. The thing that's scary about the Cubs is that they're gonna score fucking runs for you. So like Colin Ray and Ben Brown are sneaky guys. We'll see, but Luzardo has to bounce back. I think Phillies could take 2 out of 3 here because they are the home team. But it's gonna be scary. Luzardo has to bounce back. I mean, come on. You know,
that's also something I didn't touch on with Rob Thompson earlier. I really hope Rob Thompson, by leaving him in that Brewers game just to get shelled for whatever reason he did that for, did not just destroy this kid's confidence for the rest of the year.
I think he's good, but I don't think he's the sub-2 ERA guy that he was in his first maybe 5.
But I don't think he's given up as many runs as he has in the past 2 outings either.
So that's what I mean. I also don't think he's a guy that is going to go out and look like how he looked in his last 2 forever either. So, I think he can bounce back, figure it out again. I think he's a good pitcher. He's more, so I think he's can figure it out. I don't think he's as bad as his bad starts have been. I don't think he's as good as his good starts have been, but I think he's more leaning. I think he leans closer to his good starts than he does to his best. So I don't think, you can't let the last two define you, Jesus. Go out and kick ass. I'd like to see Mick Abel go out and do it, but let's see how he can. He's looked really good in his first two. Let's see how
now
he
he's
can.
facing a real offense for the first time.
Yeah, let's see how we can preserve, keep these guys, not crossing the dish, because the Cubs do that at a very high rate. What is their really quick on the Cubs? Yeah, plus 105 run differential. So
I know, it's disgusting.
So the Phillies have to keep them in the ballpark, keep them, work in and out of trouble, because there will be guys on base. So we'll see how Mick Abel does there. Luzardo to bounce back, and it's tough to bet against Wheeler, but tough to bet against Boyd right now too. So we'll see how the Phillies offense look. They have some tests too. Not like Colin Ray and Ben Brown aren't like the biggest names in baseball from who stand on a mound, and like it's not like that shit, but they are good pitchers. So it's a good little test here with some of these scrappy little Cubs arms that they'll throw at you. But I think the Phillies can take 2 out of 3 here. I really do.
Yeah, I would love to see that. That'd be, if you could go playing Chicago and you can take 2 out of 3 and win that series after having this horrible stretch. It's a huge confidence booster, and it would be awesome for this team as a whole.
Because they did that when the last time they played was in Chicago, and they took 2 out of 3, right?
So and that was, and if I'm remembering correctly, that was kind of at a not so great time either. It wasn't as bad as it is now, but in the beginning of the year, they had a little lull for a little bit where it was like they were losing games they shouldn't have and stuff like that. So, hey, maybe they just have the Cubs number this year. We'll see.
I hope so. Well, I was going to say that's what happened when they played there. Now they're at home, and there might not be the same team that they were about a month ago. They're not having the greatest of Junes, at least for the first 8 days of June that we saw. They're not having the greatest time there. And the Cubs have kind of been steady all year. Like they haven't really, they've been maybe on top of the world, come back down, but they didn't come back down that far. So they've been in first place for like the whole fucking season for them. Where the Phillies have been a little bit more trendy. So we'll see that. That's like the Kyle Schwarber series. Let's go to the Wade Boggs series here.
All right, we get Shane Baz versus Bello, Pepia versus Giolito, and then Littell versus Buehler. And for those who didn't know, the Wade Boggs series is Tampa Bay versus Boston.
Yeah.
In Fenway, Rays are 7-3 in their last 10. Rays in their last 6 series are 5-0-1, meaning so they tied a 4-game series and then won 5 of their last 6. The Rays rotation since May 20th, 109 innings pitched, is the best in the MLB. 2.39 ERA with a .91 WHIP, best in the MLB. So the Rays, I mean, you talked about it earlier. There are some teams who are just going to get it done, and the Rays have been known to kind of in the past, like they're never going to have the best lineup, but they're going to compete. They're going to be scrappy, and they're going to fight. Now they're going off against a Boston team who just gained a little confidence, win 2 out of 3 in the Bronx. So these are both two. I mean, Boston isn't as high as Tampa Bay, but now rolling after the Yankee series. So these are two teams colliding, going to make for an interesting series.
You know what? I can feel the Baz.
Yeah,
I do think Tampa Bay can come out and win this series. I think Boston's offense looked good. They did look really good. Yeah. I don't know if their pitcher staff looked good, but listen, I think Tampa Bay stays in games and takes care of a little bit more business than the Yankees can at times, despite the records and history amongst these teams. Still a division rival for Boston that can fuel you after you playing these division games. You know that you can gain ground in your division by playing these teams that are ahead of you in the standings. Now you're at home after you just took 2 out of 3. So I love Baz, Pepio. Maybe the Rays take the first 2, to be honest with you.
So I was looking at that. I'm going to go. I like Boston to win this series. I'm not going to lie. I don't like the Rays have been hot, but I like getting that confidence boost off of beating your the oldest rival in baseball, as they just did. But when I look at the pitching, I like Baz and I like Pepia. Pepia, is that how you say that? Pepio. I like both of those guys, especially again facing off against them. I'm not that confident in Bello. I'm not that confident in Giolito, but the Red Sox just mashed against a good Yankees rotation.
The difference maker here for me is Tampa Bay's pitching. I think could be a little bit more scrappier and rise to the occasion, where sometimes the Yankees scare the fuck out of me in that regard. And Tampa Bay can also put pressure on defenses, manufacture runs, keep guys on base, score with guys on base, where the Yankees is really live and die by the homer. That's a little bit different how these teams are built. And that's how Tampa Bay has to be built and has to play if they do want to win and compete, because they don't have the household names or the big mashers. But maybe Aranda gets into a few at the pesky pole. I don't know. I like Tampa Bay too.
Yandy Diaz has looked good too. I think he's at 9 bombs on the year now. Morale, I mean, dude, we were giving this team shit not 2 weeks ago for getting rid of Chandler Simpson, but this front office knows what the hell they're doing, man. I swear.
You got to respect it, and the coaching staff too. Kevin Cash is a beast. I like the Rays 2 out of 3. Is that what you said too? 2 out of 3.
Now give me Baz, Giolito, and then Bueller. I want the Red Sox 2 out of 3.
All right. Well, we'll see what happens there. Fuck the Red Sox. I want to see them really trend down after that last weekend, but.
Then we get into a little lackluster series again. We got Atlanta, who's dropped 7 straight, facing off against Milwaukee. Sale versus Civil, Green Holmes versus Priester, and then Schwelly versus Chad Patrick. Give me Milwaukee 2 out of 3 for this series.
I agree. There's like the little Hank Aaron series here. I'll also take Milwaukee's hot, 7-3 in the last 10. The Braves are 2-8 in their last 10. They can't really buy a win, and they've been losing games really miserably. Some really bad losses. Really bad. So
that's the only joy of my whole entire baseball this entire time, seeing how bad they suck. I love it. I hate Braves fans.
And Milwaukee is the home team here. So I think Bernie Brewer is going to be going down that slide pretty frequently in this next few days.
Yeah, we get into Toronto, St. Louis. Very interesting series. Toronto extremely hot right now, 8-2 in their last 10. St. Louis just coming off a series win versus the Dodgers. You got Jose versus Berrios versus Palante, Bassett versus Michaelis, and then Toronto's not sure who they're throwing versus Liberatore. Toronto's offense is back and rolling. They're 4.5 games back, and the Cards just won their series, and they are also 4 games back in their division as well. Tampa Bay right now has a wild card spot, and St. Louis is 1 game out of the wild card right now. So, I mean, looking at this in the beginning of the year, you're like, this isn't that good of a series. But right now, as it stands, it's going to be it's turning out to be not a pivotal series, but a good series.
Yeah. St. Louis being the home team is cool. This is like the Scott Rowland series. Yes, the fact that St. Louis is home, I think, helps them. Toronto coming to town, it's going to make for an interesting series. And Toronto's going to throw Berrios and Bassett, who both looked, I forget, yeah, they both looked good against the Phils in their last outing.
They looked good against the Phils, yeah.
So they're rolling. We know that when going right, Toronto's pitching is really good. We just haven't seen them all be good at the same time in past recent years. But this year, they all have been good at the same time. Bassett and Berrios, to name a few, and then Gausman's been reliable too. So we'll see what Bowden Francis, maybe he's going for Wednesday. I don't know that to be a fact. But we'll see him tonight at 7:45 game. And I kind of like St. Louis here, even though Toronto's been better in their last 10, 8-2 in their last 10, where St. Louis is 500 in their last 10. Right? Yeah. But I do think Toronto I do think St. Louis being the home team, and Toronto's maybe a little hotter right now. I am looking for St. Louis to kind of get up on one here. I know they're seeing Berrios and Bassett, but I think their pitching can compete, and I think their offense can certainly compete. So scrap together runs, manufacture runs, another scrappy team that can also run into a few. I like St. Louis 2 out of 3.
Same. I'm on board with that as well. But then we get to the A's LA. The A's aren't sure who they're throwing yet. Going against Kikuchi, Serrano, and Hendricks. Self-explanatory. I'm going with Angels 2 out of 3 for me.
Yeah. A's stink. It is the bottom 2 teams in the division, right?
Yeah.
Bottom 2, and this is the Reggie Jackson series. I'll go Angels also. I think, Kikuchi can shut down a team like this. Maybe you get another good outing from somebody. But some of these late night West Coast stuff, give me Angels 2 out of 3 also.
Then we get into probably one of the better series of this whole week. Two top teams in the Dodgers and Padres facing off. Dustin May versus Pivetta tonight. Not sure who they're throwing Tuesday versus the C's, and then Robleski versus Randy Vasquez. Padres are only 1 game back, man. Manny Machado also, I just had his stats up, is having one of the sneakiest good years right now. Because I know Tatis was getting all the love in the beginning of the year, but Manny's hitting 318. He's got 9 bombs, 17 doubles, a 380 OBP, 504 slugging, and an 884 OPS. So, I mean, those are good stats for a Manny who's later in his career. Padres have 12 shutouts so far this year. And here's another thing with them, this is absolutely nuts. They only had 2 games decided by more than 2 runs this year. Insane. Through 60 games.
That's crazy.
That's absolutely nuts.
That's crazy.
But some notable things to note about the Dodgers. Just lost a series versus the Cardinals. They just got Michael Kopech back in that pen. But overall, these guys have 14 pitchers on the IL. That's an astronomical number. That is crazy to me. But, dude, I like the Padres to win 2 out of 3 of these games.
That's great. They are the home team.
Yeah.
And they do want to pounce on a division rival, right? Who's kind of been the king of the hill for the longest.
And it's crazy to me to say. I think I just want to see shakeup in that division. Like, I just want to see somebody overthrow the Dodgers. So I'm kind of betting with my heart over my head. Because in reality, like, you look at it, like Nick Pivetta is really the only good pitcher. Like, Cease hasn't been great and Vasquez hasn't been great either. But I guess on the other side, the pitchers for Dodgers haven't been great either. It's just that offense is unbelievable.
Yeah, Pivetta could be a fucking all-star. I don't know. He looks decent. But I might go Dodgers 2 out of 3. I think, the Padres, they win a lot of those close games. I think you can't really – I mean, that's good. That's really good. But I do think the Dodgers can maybe expose and jump on some of these pitching, these pitchers. They could – yes, they have a lot of guys that are hurt. And knowing Robleski and whoever the fuck is throwing Tuesday are like interesting guys. Landon Knicknack or whatever his name is. So like they have some of these guys that no one really heard of at the beginning of the year that are coming out. And even if they don't pitch great, the offense can back them. San Diego's bullpen is really good, so they can keep you in games, or at least limit the damage and keep the games where it's at. Get a lot of holds. I don't even hate the the Padres pitchers, Pivetta, Cease, and Vasquez. I don't hate that at all. If that's who you're rolling out against a division rival, don't hate that at all. But I do think the Dodgers prevail and they get their 40th and 41st wins of the season early this week. We'll see this at 9:40 tonight. So all eyes on a late night West Coast matchup. I have the Dodgers 2 out of 3 though.
Like that. Next we get into Seattle at Arizona. Emerson Hancock facing off against Merrill Kelly. Brian Wu versus Brandon Pfaadt. And Bryce Miller versus Eduardo Rodriguez. The Mariners are 3-7 in their last 10, falling 2.5 games back. We kind of predicted this. The Mariners to kind of hit a wall here. Something that's worth noting though is like Cal Riley is having one of the better years that a catcher has ever had so far. Yeah. It's pretty unbelievable what he's been doing. He's got 26 home runs on the year already, batting .272. And catching every single day. Like he's had, I think I just saw. This yesterday was his first full day off of the year.
That's crazy.
Which is nuts. It's nuts. So you can't say enough about Cal Raleigh. But Kirby's back. 14 Ks in his last outing on Sunday. Looked pretty damn good. And then the Diamondbacks are 4-6 in their last 10, 7 games back right now.
Kirby looked good yesterday. They still lost that series to Baltimore, I think it was, right? So Seattle in Arizona, the Eugenio Suarez series. I think this is huge for Arizona. I don't think Arizona's been kind of they sweep, then they get swept. Now it's like Seattle, who is trending down, lost possession of first place, and now are 3-7 in their last 10. There's still 2 games over 500, where Arizona is the under 500 team. So they are at home in the desert. I like to say snakes alive, so I think the Snakes can win 2 out of 3 here. But when you look at who Seattle's rolling out, you have to win tonight against Emerson Hancock with Merrill Kelly on the bump. You have to win that. Then you have Brian Wu, and if that's a game that Brian Wu can very well shut you down. Fat has to kind of go toe-to-toe with Brian Wu, so it's a good test for him. And then you have Bryce Miller and Erod. It's a great test for Erod because he has to bounce or kind of bounce back as this veteran guy that they're asking him to be, especially with Bernsey banged up. So with Erod on Wednesday, big test for him because Miller could find it just like Kirby. Kirby found it, and now he looked really good. Bryce Miller can do the same fucking thing. You never know with these guys. So big test for Erod on Wednesday. Good test for Fat on Tuesday against Brian Wu. You have to think that Merrill Kelly can beat you tonight, and then they have to get one of the other two on Tuesday or Wednesday. But I think Arizona can win this series 2 out of 3.
I'm in on that as well.
Thanks
Next
a lot.
What's up?
Thanks a lot.
Then we get to Detroit, Baltimore. Simple for me. My Scooble Long. Detroit sweeps.
Detroit, Baltimore. What do we call this series?
The Gregory Soto series.
This is the Gregory Soto series. Nice. So we got the Gregory Soto series. A new guy for Detroit. Who's Gibson Long?
I don't know.
We talked about him last time. Who cares? I don't know if it's that dire of a storyline, but Detroit goes into Baltimore and sweeps. I'm with it.
Yeah, then we get to Washington facing off against the Mets. Mets, one of the better teams in baseball right now. I hate to say it, but they are. Washington's Washington. I'm looking for the Mets to take 2 out of 3 here. They got Gore versus Canning, Irvin versus Peterson, and Mike Soroka versus Kodai Senga.
Love it. We got the Ahmed Rosario series here in Queens. I had to just double check, make sure he played for the Mets. He came up through there. So, the Ahmed Rosario series, Washington at the Mets. Gore can give you a run for your money, but Canning looked really good, and he pitched well against the Dodgers not that long ago. The Mets just swept Colorado, not saying a lot with Colorado, but the Mets are now in first place, and guess what? They want to continue to take care of business against under 500 teams. In this case, it's a division rival on top of it. So, who did you have winning this series? You had the Mets, but how many?
2 out of 3. I think Washington would take 1.
Okay, I'll say that. I think Washington can get you in 1, but you're in Queens. You're throwing out 3 good pitchers. That's what the Mets can roll out. I think the Washington can also get 1, so we'll say Mets 2 out of 3. Tough to sweep.
Then we get to Texas and Minnesota. Tyler Mahle.
The Jonathan Schoop series for Baltimore, Detroit. That's a good one. Okay, where are we? Texas, Minnesota. Go ahead.
Tyler Mahle versus
Texas, Minnesota. Nelson Cruz series.
Oh, yeah. Holy shit. But then Leiter versus Festa and Corbin versus Ober. Minnesota's been trending.
Nathan series. All right, sorry.
The what?
The Joe Nathan series, Texas and Minnesota.
Joe Nathan played? Yeah, he did play for both. You're really fucking good at this. You got to start playing the Immaculate Grid again.
I know I do.
But anyway, this one's kind of up in the air. The Twins, 5-5. They kind of come back. They're still 35-30, but the Rangers have 31-35. I don't want to say it, but the Twins win the series 2 out of 3.
I don't know about this story. Is Joe Nathan? Did he get leaked or something?
I don't know, Steve. You must be in some weird shit, dude. That's kind of creepy.
What is Joe Nathan? Where is there a different Joe Nathan? I don't know. The Joe Nathan series, who may or may not be a porn star. I don't know. I have no idea about that. But who did you take? Texas 2 out of 3?
No, I took Twins 2 out of 3.
Which makes sense. They're the better team. I like to think Tyler Mahle can get into one here. And then you have, I like Leiter against Festa. I favor Leiter in that matchup. But maybe Bailey Ober pitches well. I do still believe in Texas. I'm going to ride my boys down in Arlington to come up into Minneapolis and take 2 out of 3. Fuck it. Let's go Texas. Come on. They fucked me all year with my picks because Texas has been disappointing. But 2 out of 3. Let's go Texas. I hate Minnesota. Let's go Texas.
And so I didn't write anything for this one, but because I wanted to kind of let you take the reins on this one because it's your team versus the team that you believed in the most. Got the Yankees traveling over to Kansas City.
The Raul Ibanez series?
Who?
The Raul Ibanez series? He played for the Royals?
He did. Did he? Yeah, I think he did.
The Andrew Benintendi series?
Max Fried going against Noah Cameron. Clark Schmidt versus Bubic, and then Will Warren versus Seth Lugo. Take it away, Spin. What do you think?
Yeah, fuck for the Carlos Beltran series. Fried and Cameron. You got to believe in Fried. You really got to believe in Fried. Noah Cameron's been a stud. You got to believe in Fried on the road to go out. And you know what aces do? Fried's an ace. And you know what aces do? They say, hey, we lost our last 2. I got to go out and shove for the boys. This is Tuesday's game, by the way. When did the Tuesday stuff start? Tuesday started with Detroit and Baltimore leads us off for Tuesday stuff. But so tomorrow Free has to go into Kansas City. You got a travel day. You got some days to kind of bask and get over yourself from this weekend set. And after you lose 2 against a division rival, nothing like your ace to go out in the next game and go out and shove. So that's what they need Fried to do. I think he will do that because anytime that Fried has had to kind of answer the call and step up big, he has. And then I do think Yankees take 2 out of 3. I don't think they sweep, but maybe between Schmidt and Warren, Bubic and Lugo in that order. We'll see. I don't think the Yankees can sweep. If Fried goes out and shoves, Cameron can pitch well, so they have to just do enough to win offensively. But with Clark and Bubic, like Bubic can shove, Lugo can shove. I like to think that they can get on Lugo because they know him better. They know Lugo better. So maybe they lose Wednesday. Will Warren comes out, continues to pitch well. I don't know if he's been like maybe up and down, but for the most part, pretty good in his last like 6 outings. And I think he can continue that. And I think they know Lugo pretty well, and they can get to him. They don't know Bubic too well. It'll be the second straight lefty that they'll be facing in a row. Maybe that fucks them. I don't really know if that has anything to do with it. But I think Kansas City wins 1. I do think the Yankees should and definitely win 2 out of 3. I'm saying definitely. Come on.
I like Yankees 2 out of 3, and probably for all the same reasons you said. I think Bubic can really. He's been lights out this year. So I like him to basically kind of win the only game of that series for the Royals, because the Royals bats have been lackluster. So next we get into the White Sox versus Houston. I look for the Houston to take 2 out of 3 here. I don't know if they're gonna sweep because, like I said, the White Sox have some surprising guys and that pitching staff that will shock you, and it's really hard to sweep. The Houston is home, so this is a great chance for them to sweep, but I'm going to go with 2 out of 3 for them.
Yeah, for the Jose Abreu series. Now, McCullers has been pretty good in his last few games, and now that he's turned into like a streamer for fantasy, I can see him getting picked up a lot for this White Sox series, and then Shane Smith goes out and goes toe-to-toe with them and absolutely kicks ass and maybe shuts down Houston because Shane Smith's been really good. So whether if I stream McCullers, then they'll lose. If I don't stream them, then they'll win. That's basically how that works. I don't hate Gusto and Framber Valdez. He's looked good lately. Some of these pitchers for White Sox are sneaky good, though. So let's not sleep too much on Chicago. But I do think Houston 2 out of 3 at home. I think the White Sox can get you in one of these games.
All right. Then we get into San Francisco at Colorado. Should I even read the pitchers for this one?
Yeah, might as well.
Kyle Harrison versus Palmquist, Robbie Ray versus Kyle Freeland, and then Birdsong, who's been awesome, versus Vicente Lozela. Is Birdsong a rookie?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think so. I think he got time last year. I don't know if he qualified. I don't think he is.
This is really the only thing I wanted to touch on with this, because he's been he's not a rookie. Yeah, you're right. He got the time last year. It made him, and he got enough time. Okay. But San Francisco sweeps.
Okay, I'm with that. I'm with that too in the Chris Bryant series. San Fran sweeps.
Yeah, poor guy.
Poor Chris Bryant. Huh?
I know. Then we get to the start of the 4-game set. This is looking at Thursday because we won't be touching on any of it on Wednesday. St. Louis and Milwaukee get started, and then Pittsburgh at Chicago. Just some things to talk about real quick. St. Louis and Milwaukee, that's a good rivalry series. 2 division teams going off against each other. And then Pittsburgh at Chicago. Kind of self-explanatory. Chicago will probably roll that series, but
yeah, probably. So we got those a pair of NL Central teams going against each other to start Thursday, and then those will be 4-game sets rolling into the weekend. So that'll be interesting there. But for this one, I think all eyes on Dodgers Padres. That's the one for early in the week.
That's the big one. And then if you're Philly and the Cubs could have had an asterisk next to it if the Phillies weren't playing such dog shit baseball, because in reality those would be 2 really good teams going against each other. But yeah, Padres Dodgers, man, gonna be a great series.
Cubs Phillies is gonna be a big one though too. And then so that National League stuff though, I mean, we always talk about that National League stuff is what's gonna kind of kick ass. I mean, the next best series to start the week, maybe you're looking at the AL East and saying Tampa Bay, Boston piques your interest. Yeah. Maybe Yankees at Kansas City piques, but that's a big dip, big drop off for where the Dodgers Padres series ranks to Cubs, Phillies, and then you got to get those AL teams, and it's a good test for the Yankees, man. They got to bounce back big. I think they can take 2 out of 3, get their 40th win of the season.
I think we aren't giving enough credit. Like the Red Sox Rays could be pretty damn interesting too, because with how good of baseball the Rays are playing right now.
So if the Phils sweep, they'll have 40 wins.
Yeah. If they sweep, I will be so fucking happy.
If the Padres sweep, they'll have 40 wins. We haven't done golden takes in a while. We don't have to do golden takes right now.
Oh, we haven't yet.
But to something to think about is because Padres have 37 wins. Cardinals at 36 wins. Maybe I'll throw the Brewers at 35 wins. Giants at 38 wins. That's a lot of NL teams. Phillies at 37. Houston 36.
Wins at 35.
And then Blue Jays, Toronto 35. And then Yankees 39. I mean, I know that just threw out a lot of fucking teams and it was kind of a hodgepodge, but a lot of those teams, we're going to start to see more and more teams at 40 wins now. So that's going to be interesting.
The Astros are going to get there pretty damn quickly because who did we just say they're playing?
It's the Jose Abreu series. It's the White Sox.
Yes, like they got the White Sox. They can take care of business there. Wow, dude, talk about the Brewers just having a completely flipping the script of their season, man. The 4 games above 500, sitting at 35 and 31. Dude, Steve's more of a cynic than I am, dude. It's freaking crazy. Under 75 wins is wild. I guess he agrees with me that he doesn't think Dombrowski's going to do shit at the trade deadline.
Yes, Steve, what do you think about that?
Me?
No, I said, Steve, what do you think about that? Dombrowski at the deadline? What do you think? Sound off. But, so we'll see how many of those teams get to 40 wins. It's kind of a race to 40. I shouldn't say a race to 40 wins, but listen, if you're in 40 wins by early June, really good way to then you can continue to build off that. Come All-Star break, you're probably at the top of the heap, right? Because all the 40 win teams are going to be the notable teams moving forward. So get up to a good first half of the season. I think that starts with kind of getting starting next week with 40 wins. Not everyone's going to do it. The Yankees are 39. They could get that tomorrow. Philly should get that. So all the notable teams should have 40 wins by, let's say, maybe in a week. Yeah, maybe like a week or so, a week and a half. All the notable teams get to 40, and then after that, you got a few weeks to the All-Star break, and then we have a pretty good halfway point, and we have a pretty good idea as to who the real deals are or not. But again, there's always going to be surprises. Like last year, the Mets and Tigers got hot at the right time and made the playoffs. Last thing here, he'll trade for a shitty outfielder, Dombrowski. Maybe Orioles special Dylan Carlson.
This is what's gonna happen. He's gonna trade. He'll trade for like Cedric Mullins or something like that. I don't know who. And then Phillies fans will go like dive deep into his career and pick out 1 year where he was like over 300 hitter and hit like 20 bombs and be like, oh my God, this guy's the answer. And then guess what? He's going to suck. That's my take. But anyway, tune in Wednesday. We'll be back Wednesday, same time, 9:30. In who we are. As our notable All-Stars looking at
we do got All-Star stuff, huh? On Wednesday, make sure you go in and vote, kiddies. The All-Star voting is open. Make sure you vote. Make sure you vote for Jonathan Aranda's team. That's your boy to start it. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Sean Spin in the morning. We'll see you fucking Wednesday.